It was on September 20th in the year 1519 that Portuguese navigator Ferdinand Magellan set sail from Spain in an effort to find a western sea route to the rich spice islands of Indonesia. In command of 5 ships and 270 men, Magellan sailed to West Africa and then to Brazil, where he searched the South American coast for a strait that would take him to the Pacific. He searched the Rio de la Plata, a large estuary south of Brazil, for a way through. Failing, he continued south along the coast of Patagonia. At the end of March in the year 1520, the expedition set up winter quarters at Port St. Julian. On Easter Day at midnight, the Spanish captains mutinied against their Portuguese captain, but Magellan crushed the revolt. On October 21st, he finally discovered the strait he had been seeking. The Strait of Magellan, as it became known, is located near the tip of South America, separating Tierra del Fuego and the continental mainland. Only 3 ships entered the passage. One had been wrecked and another deserted. It took 38 days to navigate the treacherous strait, and when ocean was sighted at the other end, Magellan wept with joy. He was the first European explorer to reach the Pacific Ocean from the Atlantic. His fleet accomplished the westward crossing of the ocean in 99 days, crossing waters so strangely calm that the ocean was named Pacific, from the Latin word pacificus, meaning tranquil. By the end, the men were out of food and chewed the leather parts of their gear to keep themselves alive. On March 6th in 1521, the expedition landed at the island of Guam. 10 days later, they dropped anchor at the Philippine island of Cebu. They were only 400 miles from the Spice Islands. Magellan met with the chief of Cebu, who, after converting to Christianity, persuaded the Europeans to assist him in conquering a rival tribe on the neighboring island of Mactan. In fighting on April 27th, Magellan was hit by a poisoned arrow and left to die by his retreating comrades. After Magellan continued his eternity, the survivors in 2 ships sailed on to Moluccas and loaded the hulls with spice. One ship attempted unsuccessfully to return across the Pacific. The other ship, the Victoria, continued west under the command of Basque navigator Juan Sebastian de Elcano. The vessel sailed across the Indian Ocean, rounded the Cape of Good Hope, and arrived at the Spanish port of Sanlúcar de Barrameda on September 6 in 1522. Becoming the first ship to circumnavigate the globe. On this day, September 20th, in the year 1565, the first European battle happened on American soil. Spanish forces under Pedro Menendez de Aviles captured the French Huguenot settlement of Fort Caroline near present-day Jacksonville, Florida. The French, commanded by René Goulain de Laudonnière, lost 135 men in the first instance of colonial warfare between European powers in America. Most of those men who continued their eternity were massacred on the order of Aviles, who allegedly had the slain hanged on trees beside the inscription, not as Frenchmen, but as heretics. Laudonnière and some 40 other Huguenots escaped. In 1564, the French Huguenots, or another word for the Huguenots was Protestants, had settled on the banks of May, a strategic point on the Florida coast. King Philip II of Spain was disturbed by this challenge to Spanish authority in the New World and sent Pedro Menendez de Aviles to Florida to expel the French heretics and establish a Spanish colony there. In early September of 1565, Aviles founded San Augustine on the Florida coast, which would later grow into St. Augustine, the oldest city in North America. 2 weeks later, on September 20th, he attacked and destroyed the French settlement of Fort Caroline. The decisive French defeat encouraged France to refocus its colonial efforts in America far to the north, in what is now Quebec and Nova Scotia in Canada. It was on September 20th in the year 1881 that Chester A. Arthur became the third president to serve in 1 year. The year 1881 began with our 19th president, Rutherford B. Hayes, serving in office. Hayes served out his first and only term, officially turning over the reins of government to James A. Garfield, who was our 20th president, who happened to be a close friend of his. Just 4 months into his term, on July 2nd, Garfield was shot by an assassin named Charles Guiteau. Charles Guiteau claimed to have shot Garfield because he refused to grant Guiteau a political appointment. Garfield sustained wounds to his back and abdomen and struggled to recover throughout the summer. Though it appeared he would pull through in early September, the autopsy report revealed that the internal bullet wound contributed to an aneurysm. It's believed because of this aneurysm, James Garfield continued his eternity on September 19th. The next day, Vice President Chester A. Arthur was sworn in as president. Strangely, Garfield's assassin wrote to the new president from jail, taking credit for voting Arthur into the White House. According to President Hayes, Arthur's administration was best known for liquor, snobbery, and worse. He served only one term from 1881 to 1885. This is actually the second time that our nation had 3 presidents in 1 year. A situation similar to this did occur before. It was the year 1841. Our nation's 8th president, Martin Van Buren, our nation's 9th president, William Henry Harrison, and our nation's 10th president, John Tyler, all served that year. Historic information divulged and documented on this audio file can be verified on history.com.